I welcome you and thank you for joining us today as we mourn the death of Tillie West Thompson and celebrate her life. I'm Reverend Jim McGaw. I'm the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of the South Hills in Pittsburgh, also known as Sunny Hill, where Tillie's daughter Elizabeth and her family have been longtime members. This online memorial service is a first for us, but we're happy to host this service on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, and we hope that it will provide some measure of comfort and solace during this extremely challenging time. Let us be honest with death. Let us not pretend that it is less than it is. It is separation. It is sorrow. It is grief. But let us not pretend that death is more than it is. It is not annihilation. As long as memory endures, Tillie's influence will be felt. It is not an end to love. Humanity's need for love from each of us is boundless. It is not an end to joy and laughter. Nothing would less honor Tillie's vibrant soul than to make our lives drab in counterfeit respect. I will light our chalice, as is the custom in our congregation, with these words. In this time of loss, in this time of asking why, we light a flame of commitment. In this time of why, we light this flame, sign of our searching, sign of our sharing, sign that together we remember. Together we ask why. Together, in sadness and in joy, we share light. We're here today, as I said, to celebrate the life of Tillie Thompson, her passion for family and travel and making friends wherever she went, and living life to the fullest. For those who knew and loved her, her death leaves a distinct Tillie-shaped hole in the universe. We cannot fill that hole today, but we can honor the person who left it, can surround this empty space with memories of Tillie and the caring and concern and vibrant energy she imparted to all those whose lives she touched. Certainly, there is much to grieve today, and just as certainly, there is much to celebrate. I ask you to share one another's grief while also sharing one another's happiness to have known Tillie and the great light that she brought in to this world. Next, we have a brief eulogy by Tillie's nephew, Michael, followed by a series of remembrances by family and friends.
Hello, and welcome to family from all over the country, friends from all over the world. My name is Michael Mayu, and I am honored and privileged to be asked to share some thoughts about a very special person, my Aunt Tillie. There are some people in our lives who inspire us to follow our passions, challenge us to expand our horizons, and dare us to live life to the fullest. This last statement, living life to the fullest, doesn't quite meet the mark when defining how Tillie lived her life. She was a very well-traveled person with a literal global network of friends and lifetime of unique experiences. 5 minutes inside her house would give you an idea of the places she'd been and the experiences she had. Her wall is lined with pictures of Japanese landscapes and art, including one with a group of women dressed as geishas. And if you look close enough, you'll notice that one of these women was Tillie. This picture hung right next to a renowned blue dog picture painted by a famous artist from Louisiana. Statues, collectibles, and among other African pieces, a very aged and worn out zebra skin rug on the floor and always placed in the most cluttered and inconvenient location. I think I managed to trip over it at least a couple dozen times over the years. Always the entertainer, she was constantly in want of a dance partner, but never in need of one if the right music was on. You could always find her breaking the social ice and leading the crowd to the dance floor. She was twice my age, but she never showed it. On several occasions when I tagged along with her and her friends out in town, I found myself struggling to match her stamina and her energy level. The consummate host, she prided herself on making everyone feel welcome and comfortable. If you had met her before, then you already knew this. If you were a stranger or guest in her house for the first time, then you always came away with a fond memory and definitely a favorable impression. Known for her cooking ability, she was always the preferred chef in the family, and I enjoyed many of her meals over the years and was able to pick up some cooking tips along the way. But if there was a show that happened to be on TV and it caught her interest, then she needed a constant reminder that there was something in the oven or in the stove. Otherwise, the meal might be a little bit on the well done side. She had a passion for community involvement and excelled in the hotel service industry, as demonstrated by her years spent as a concierge and membership in the esteemed Clay Door Foundation. She was a fixture at the local Newport Yacht Club, and for years sponsored countless international military officers at the Naval War College. There was never a time when she didn't have arrangements made for an extended house guest or a trip planned, either to visit family or vacation with friends. And despite her high-paced social life and her seemingly continuous trips, my kids could always count on receiving a birthday card or a letter in the mail to mark every occasion, no matter how trivial the holiday may have seemed. This past Easter Sunday, a day after her passing, we rediscovered a box of Peruvian chocolates that we had hidden from the kids. Tillie had sent that box to them for Valentine's Day. Behind all this, she was a small town girl from East Texas and Southwest Louisiana, who in recent years talked more and more about returning to her roots and moving back home. To be closer to her brother, closer to her sister, closer to childhood friends, and closer to the family camp, which she always considered to be her true home and where she grew up visiting and fishing with her cousins and her extended family. I lived with Tillie on several semi-permanent occasions throughout my adult life, and in fact I was telling someone recently that besides for my wife, there is no one else over the past 15 years or so that I lived with more. I spent a couple summers during college with her on Martha's Vineyard, where she vouched for me and my brother, got us jobs working at a local bike shop. Later on, I spent some time with her in Naples, Florida, before embarking with her on a long road trip from South Florida, and I helped her move back to New England. But more recently, it's been during my time in the Navy, staying with her on Newport, Rhode Island, where my time with her has been the most meaningful. A little bit about what I do in the Navy and my community. I'm a surface warfare officer, or SWO, meaning I spend most of my career on board ships. Newport, Rhode Island just happens to be the heart of the Surface Warfare Officer community. And it's often referred to as the SWO Mecca. And Tillie just happened to live no more than a mile from the front gate of Naval Station Newport. We SWOs return to Newport many times throughout our career for training in schools as we promote through the ranks. Sometimes we are there for a few weeks at a time, and other times we're there for as long as 7 to 8 months. Anytime we are reaching a milestone in our career, we can always count on returning to Newport for more training. So we always end up rotating back to Newport every few years. For the majority of SWOs, Newport represents and is synonymous with extended periods of warfare training, simulated ship driving, and relentless studying and testing. Oftentimes capped off with a celebratory dinner and a late night out with fellow classmates once we all successfully passed an advancement exam. But for me, when I think of Newport, all this has always been secondary. My association with Newport was always a little bit different. A return to Newport always meant a return to a second home, a return to a family home. I'd like to conclude this by telling a quick story that sort of characterizes Tillie's personality. One night when I was living with Tillie during an extended stay, I was at the schoolhouse on base until late one night studying for an exam the next day. I came home very tired and probably pretty stressed out, and Tillie was out with some of her friends, likely at the Fifth Element, or one of her other favorite places in downtown Newport. She had left her car in the driveway, and I had to move it forward a few feet to make room for my car. Well, being somewhat distracted and apparently not being very familiar with the placement of the foot pedals and the layout of the inside of her car, I went ahead and put it in drive. The car slowly creeped forward, and I couldn't find the brake pedal. A few seconds later, the next thing I know, her RAV4 and I are in her backyard, and her fence is destroyed all around us. I get out of the car, I take stock of the destruction, and wondered what the heck had just happened. I called Tillie to prepare her for what she was coming home to. And when she arrived, I expected a less than positive reaction. Her response was laughter. She made fun of me a little bit and said, "Oh well, I guess we'll just have to call my fence guy tomorrow and get a quote." That reaction was typical of Tillie, a lighthearted approach to any situation, and always able to find the humor in life. Goodbye, Aunt Tillie. I will miss your hospitality, your constant insistence on babysitting the kids, your sense of humor, and your zest for life. Thank you, and we love you.
I am honored and very touched to be asked to say a few words about my best friend, Tillie. My name is Kay Griffin Schiller, and I had the pleasure of calling Tillie my best friend for about 65 years. I first met Tillie in Jasper, Texas, where we both attended J.F. Parnell Elementary School. We became fast friends. In the 6th grade, Tillie said to me, "Hey Kay, let's prick our fingers and become blood sisters." I wholeheartedly agreed, and then we went about pricking our fingers, sharing our blood, and proclaimed that we were blood sisters. That monumental childhood event solidified my long-standing relationship with Tillie, and years later, I always beamed with pride when Tillie would introduce me as her blood sister. Our relationship was special to both of us. Although many times we lived miles apart, we managed to stay in contact over the years. I was part of her life and she was part of my life. I had the honor of serving as godmother to Susan, Tillie's youngest daughter, and she was the godmother to my daughter Leslie. We shared and enjoyed so many moments of silliness, craziness, and even risky escapades in life that I will forever hold as beautiful memories of our friendship. As all of you know, family and friends were always important to Tillie. She was in a relationship extraordinaire and never met a stranger. Tillie was one of the founders of our Best Friends Forever group, which included Kay Cunningham, Kay Gibbs, Sue Thompson, Mary Catherine Woods, Sarah Balch, Jackie Miller-Long, Tillie, and myself. This was a group of 8 women with roots from Jasper. We found a way to maintain our connection, and we tightened our bond even more so in our seasoned years. For the last several years, the BFFs traveled once a year together for the purpose of rekindling our friendships, to laugh, to play, and to tell rich stories of the past. Tillie was a central character and force in this group, as her zest for life, contagious smile, and laughter were so appreciated. When we all learned that Tillie was hospitalized, we stayed in daily contact with one another through text and calls. We prayed together, laughed, and told stories about Tillie, and toasted to our dear friend. The BFFs remained strong in our hope that Tillie would fully recover so that we could then plan our annual trip and once again celebrate our friendships. Alas, this didn't happen. I am thankful that I had the opportunity to spend time with Tillie during her travels to Texas in January. As always, there was never an awkward moment to know each other, because it was always like she had only been gone a day or two. We spent a fun-filled few days in Galveston, laughed, talked for hours, shared stories, and drank martinis in her newly purchased martini glasses. In the last few years, Tillie often talked about wanting to move closer to her family home and thought of finding a place in Galveston. During her last visit, we visited a few places as she seemed closer to her dream. Tillie was a dreamer, and I loved being the listener of her various life dreams. Tillie, I will miss you, your friendship, your smile, and laughter. I will miss your visits to Houston and Galveston, and the many nights we would talk all night about anything and everything. I love the way you always craved Mexican food when you would come to Houston, or seafood in Galveston. I will miss your loving and caring text to make sure we were surviving explosions, hurricanes, or heat. I will miss reaching out to you to see if you were warm in the cold Newport winters. More than anything, I will especially miss how we ended our telephone calls with a ritual of exchanging our I love yous and then sending kisses over the phone. I feel certain this is what you did with everyone and not just me. It was who you were, Tillie, a very loving, gentle, compassionate, and beautiful soul. May you be at peace, my friend, and thank you for being the best friend anyone could ever have. I don't know if any of you noticed this cap on the table. I bought this for Tillie not too long ago. You notice the bling on it for Texas? She loved bling. And it wasn't the only thing with bling that I forgot her. But anyway, I didn't have the opportunity to give it to her. So I think I'll wear it myself in honor of her.
Remembering about Tillie is more painful than thinking about Tillie. To me, remembering is our meeting in Hillsborough, California at Montessori Gate almost 50 years ago when our daughters were admitted. Tillie was a laughing girl in her 20s, and I a somewhat solemn matron in my 30s. Remembering is also learning about her wonderful Southern heritage and readily sharing my own European experiences. Her traveling mother, father, and aunts were soon my dinner guests in California. And Tillie flew with me to Portugal, even to the mountains, cooked for me in the old stone house in which my father was born. Then we flew to elegant Madeira Island, my mother's home. Thinking about Tillie involves our many car trips, sharing, repeating, and revisiting our personal histories. Many trips through many southern states to visit with her many friends, whom I still know and appreciate. I think also of her plan, her desire to go home. And she asked me if I would undertake that long drive with her someday. Soon. Yes, I assured her I would. Well, but you did not wait for me, Tillie. You decided to do it alone.
One. Hi, my name is Robin Jill. I met Tillie many years ago through our profession of being hotel concierge. Not only was Tillie a dear friend of mine, but through our professional organization, Le Clé d'Or, I know that Tillie has touched so many colleagues and friends around the world through her exuberance for life, her spirit, her care for others, and her wanting to have a good time. She was able to connect with anyone, anywhere, at any time. It only took her a smile and to offer you a glass of wine, and you were friends. Tillie was truly genuine and shared the love of travel and connecting with people and culture. We've had many trips together. She has been all around the world. I always used to say, where in the world is Tillie if I wasn't traveling with her? We had so many adventures together, from an all-night Summerfest concert in Tallinn, looking for Roman columns in Barcelona of all places. She was fixated on it, and we finally did find those columns and, of course, had a glass of wine to celebrate us finding them. We were able to connect and meet other friends through congresses around the world and throughout the United States. Anyone will tell you Tillie was the first one on the dance floor, and her jitterbug, all of you partners of hers out there can know that Tillie loved every moment of every dance with you. We had the opportunity to go ahead and travel together just recently to Peru. It was something that was on Tillie's bucket list, and I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to do it. We were on horseback, we climbed Rainbow Mountain, we went to Machu Picchu, which was specifically something that Tillie wanted to do during this trip, and her love of the people there, anywhere that she went, made the trip so special. Again, her connecting with everyone throughout the world. Tillie would always say when we would be somewhere I think I want to move here. I know I'm retired, but maybe I'll retire from my retirement. I really love the food. I love the wine. I love the people. I want to spend more time here. Yet when she got back to Newport, she was so happy to entertain at home. Anyone she met, she usually invited for you to come up for a visit to see her in Newport. And those of you that were able to do that know what a joy and what a great hostess that she was. She took great pride in her community. She was really active. I was able to meet people through her other organizations and her volunteer work that she did in Newport, and they were all so important to her. The common thread that so many of us have is Tillie's love of life, and Tillie really did live life to the fullest. I'll always remember everything that Tillie ever said to me. I'll always remember everything Tillie did for me, but everyone will always remember the way that Tillie made you feel. Cheers to you, Tillie. May your Tillie dust be spread far and wide to infinity. I love you.
This is Jimmy Berry. I'm Tillie's cousin from Louisiana. I just wanted to say a few words on what Tillie meant to me and my family. Although I only visited Tillie once in Rhode Island, it was a visit I will remember forever. My sons visited her more often and always enjoyed their visits with her Aunt Tillie, as they referred to her. Tillie was a special lady who always made you feel welcome and was so full of energy and life. Whether we visited her in her Rhode Island home or at the camp, she always had a story to share and could relate to anyone in any environment. We so loved her and will miss her dearly. I would like to end with a quote that my boss used to give when fellow employees he was close to left the company. He attributed it to Bret Hart and was supposedly given at the passing of a fellow student at Amherst University. The quote went basically, Amherst is a small place, and now we love it less. Well, the world is a small place, and now we love it less with the passing of Tillie. We love you, Tillie, and wish you fair winds and following seas.
Hi, I'm Marty Berry, cousin by marriage and friend by luck. There's not much I can say that all of us who knew and loved her so dearly would not already know, as Tillie was an open book. She shared herself completely and unselfishly, an act I have not witnessed in any other person. She lived big and she loved big. It was her compassionate and generous heart that I have admired most. Not only did she love unconditionally, but she believed everyone else should too. In this way, she was Christ in action. She believed in fairness, justice, forgiveness, bond of family and friendship, kindness, and joy of the gift of life, and worked hard to achieve it and expected it of others. Though she didn't back down from what she thought was right, Tillie was a great peacemaker. She shared with me that she thought that there was nothing that could not be overcome, that everyone should get along together. She believed it was not only possible but necessary. She traveled the world, but because of her heart, she was never far away. How I treasure those out-of-the-blue phone calls I would get. The one most recently, days before she became ill. She was so full of exuberance and excitement at the prospect of moving home. I won't see a ceramic frog, celebrate a 4th of July or New Year's Eve, or buy a community coffee with chicory in it, or watch a masterpiece theater program without thinking of her and missing her. I will always remember and appreciate her attentiveness to my boys, James and Matthew, whether it was sending a newspaper clipping in the mail that she thought that they might be interested, extending invitations for them to come visit, or even sharing their enthusiasm for sailing by joining the local yacht club race committee. Her thoughtfulness and generosity was ever present. The last conversation I had with her, I remember her speaking of moving home and saying, "I want to pick up the phone and call Susie and say, Marty and I are going to the movie. Come go with us." In this I know the challenge that Tillie leaves with me and others. Stay close, talk often, love big, spend time with and appreciate family. My prayers are with Tillie and for you, Bob, Liz, Susan, Susie, Harry Paul, and all who love her. I sure will miss you, Tillie. I love you.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive. And we believe that sharing is an answer. A child is born among us and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. We thrill to hear imagination freely running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of this child. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a time to be together. And with the grace of age, we share the wonder of youth. And we believe that growing is an answer. Our lives are full of wonder and our time is very brief. The death of one among us fills us all with pain and grief. But as we live, so shall we die. And when our lives are done, the memories we shared with friends, they will linger on and on. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
My name is Susie. I'm Tillie's sister. I'm the one with the big hair on a lot of those pictures that you'll be seeing. As you all know, Tillie was a ray of sunshine, and she would not want us to be sad on this day that we celebrate her life. But I would like to read something to y'all that is beautiful and I think very appropriate for Tillie. I am standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she is gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and spar as she was when she left my side, and she is just as able to bear the load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone at my side says, "There, she is gone," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes." Tillie, we love you. Your spirit will live forever in all those who knew you. Rest in peace, dear sister.
A mother's gift. How can I put into words the essence of my mother? How do I possibly paint a portrait of someone who outshined the sun, yet touched upon our hearts as the moon does the ocean tides? She would like all to know her as a woman who celebrated all of life, but she is far more complicated than that. Her emotions ran to the depths of her ancient soul, while her days consisted of childlike play. She loved absolutely everything that life has to offer. She believed in living each day as if it were the last. No, I cannot capture the true essence of my mother in words, but I can see her spirit everywhere. I can feel her warmth and still hear her familiar words. I can see her in our similar features and know that her imprint has formulated the person I am today. She is my mother, the first person to hear my cry, and the first person to see me smile. Her house is a treasure trove of our lives' memoirs, an array of snippets in time, moments she captured and held dearly. Pictures of family and friends surrounded her always. I'd like to believe she is now surrounded by the loved ones who went before her, dancing to a concert in her honor, and singing with a voice she's always longed to have. And for those of us left behind, I hope we remember the lessons she instilled: to let go of pain, to cherish every moment that we get, to celebrate whenever and wherever possible, to see all of life's gifts as blessings, to hold dear our loved ones, to never let an opportunity or adventure pass by unnoticed, and most importantly, to see the unique gifts we each bring to this world as exquisite significance, meant to be cherished, honored, and revered.
Elizabeth, Tillie's oldest daughter. Mom was the youngest 74-year-old that any of us will ever know. Mom was larger than life. Wherever she went, the party always followed. Mom loved to entertain. She loved to cook for others. She loved to have people over to her house. And in fact, she had a revolving front door. I think it's safe to say that she was the hostess with the mostest. And man, could my mom dance. Always the first one on the dance floor and the last to leave. But above all else, family came first. Mom loved her family fiercely and without compromise. Mom was an especially devoted grandmother. Mom never missed a birthday, a music recital, Christmas, soccer or a lacrosse game, graduation, or anything in between. If there was the slightest possibility she could make it into town, she made it happen. In fact, she was just in Pittsburgh in February. Her trip happened to coincide with the high school snowball dance. So off she went with me and Mark to take photos of Simon and Lucinda and their dates and all their friends. And if you don't know it, photos before a school dance are now a huge event. A parent hosts the photos, and there's usually a full spread of food, drinks, and music for 10 to 20 high school couples and their parents. And for this snowball photo shoot, there was also Mama, who came with her camera, clawing her way to the front of the parents to ensure her prime location to get the best pictures. Mom was especially thrilled a few short weeks ago when all the stars aligned and Simon knew he would be attending his dream college outside of Boston. In fact, the last time she called me from the hospital was to tell me that she's decided to postpone her move back home for 4 years while Simon was in school there. She was already thinking about the recipes that she was going to cook for him. While Mom was in the hospital and I was staying at her house, I found every small gift that my kids made for her over the years. Here's the embroidery that my daughter Madeline made for her this Christmas, and Mom had it hanging in her bedroom. Here's the coffee mug that Lucinda made for her with her name Mama on it, and she kept this on top of her microwave, and she used it every single morning when she drank her coffee. And here is the egg that Simon made for her. So there's a story behind this. We have backyard chickens, and the kids named our first chicken after Mom. They named the chicken Tillie. So for Christmas, Simon blew out one of Tillie's eggs, wrote Tillie on it, mounted it, and gave it to Mom for Christmas. And oh my God, Mom loved this egg. But when she got home, she accidentally knocked it over and it broke into about 100 pieces. But Mom painstakingly glued it all back together. It's missing a back, so that she could keep this and remember this. And finally, there's the scarf that Lucinda made for her. This was Lucinda's first crochet project, and Lucinda gave it to Mom for Christmas, and Mom wore this all winter. She wore this scarf with pride, telling everyone that her granddaughter made it. And now, let's raise a glass to toast my Mom. Be it a coffee mug, a glass of wine, or a virtual glass. Mom was bigger than life. Mom didn't attend parties because Mom was the party. Celebration and good times followed her wherever she went, and she brightened the lives of everyone she met. I know we will all remember her best for her infectious joie de vivre and her ability to take life by the horns. To my Mom, the most loving, free-spirited, passionate woman we will ever know, may her sparkle and light continue to shine in each of us. Cheers, Mom. May the Motown music never stop, may the drinks never stop flowing, and may you be surrounded by the laughter of those you love wherever you are. We love you, Mom.
Thank you to everyone for joining us today for this service, and thank you to everyone who shared. It's been a great privilege for me to be here with you during this time of remembering a wonderful person whose life touched so many other lives so deeply. I hope that you'll continue to reach out to one another for mutual support in the days and weeks that are ahead. A burial will take place this summer in Tillie's hometown of DeRidder, Louisiana, per her wishes, with a celebration of life party at her beloved family camp. And everyone is invited, though a date has not yet been set. If you would like to extend your condolences to the family, you can continue to do so by commenting here or by sending an email to familyoftillieT@gmail.com. That's all one word, familyoftillieT@gmail.com. Please stay tuned for a closing slideshow that was put together by Tillie's family. For now, we'll close with these words. Let us honor the life of Tillie Thompson by living ourselves more nobly and more lovingly in the days ahead. As you return to the routines of your lives, go in peace, and may an abiding peace go with you. Amen.